Hey everybody, this is Jim.
And this is Mike.
Yeah, Mike's here with me. We're doing a special podcast remembering Michael Nesmith from the
Yeah.
Monkees.
Hey, before you jump right into it, it's good to be on the show again with you, Jim, and being out for a while there. So appreciate everything that you've done, and good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. And we just put out a podcast with our interview with Skip with Mike is on that. Yeah, Michael Nesmith passed away a couple of days ago. And, on everybody's mind who, are Monkees fans. And,
right.
Yeah, so if you don't know who the Monkees are, which I'm sure, I don't know why you're listening to this, but Michael Nesmith was he was the monkey with the wool hat, to be specific.
Hey, it's Monkees. It's Monkees spelled with two E's. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because when you go search in the internet for monkeys, like I did the other day, came up with all the different kinds of apes and other simians, and so it's Monkees for the band. Similar to the Beatles, right? I mean, the Beatles, it's not the two E's, the rock band.
Yeah, I think the Beatles might have been like Beat. I don't know. That's what I always thought. I'm sure there's a answer to that.
Yeah. Well, we should find out the answer to that, because I thought it was just a rearranging, so it wouldn't be the same as the small insect with the exoskeleton, the Beatles.
Well, there was the
very interesting.
Mercy Beat. So I'm thinking maybe they were going off of that.
Okay. Do you know, I never thought of the word beat in Beatles. First time for everyththing.
This is Paul. Paul's not here. Come on.
No. But the origin of the Monkees, I mean, they came right as the Beatles were gaining popularity, right?
Yeah, it was 1960s. It was the late 60s.
Yeah, 1960. Yeah, well, it was 1965 that they were conceived. I guess that's figuratively, not literally. And 1966, my birth year, is when they started being on TV and such.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that the Beatles were first. The Beatles were out there.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that, because the Monkees did meet the Beatles, believe it or not.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Michael Nesmith, first of all, I saw Michael Nesmith on the last tour, which just ended, believe it or not, less than a month ago.
Just weeks ago.
The tour started September 10th in Spokane, Washington, and ended on November 14th. So literally, 3 weeks ago or so, in LA at the Greek. Now, I heard the tour was postponed because of COVID, but I'm not sure if that's true or not, because I don't remember hearing about. My mind, is not what it used to be. But
yeah. But you're not as old as a monkey. By the way, the Monkees, they're all as old as my parents, born just a year or two after my parents were born. They're getting up in age there.
Yeah, Michael Nesmith was 78.
Yeah.
And he did have heart problems. He had heart surgery maybe 3 years ago. I think they were on tour at the time and had to stop the tour because he was told if you continue, you will die. To do a tour, this was just the United States, is for even a young person, I think, is grueling to be on, the tour bus from town to town. You're sleeping in different hotel rooms. I know for me, it's hit and miss.
You're eating junk food, and you're not eating your favorite foods and what you're used to. And you also just can't take a day off because, hey, we got a big tour tomorrow, but I'm just going to take the day off instead. I'm not going. You can't just do that.
They might get a day in between, but they did 40 shows, not like
that's
10,
intense.
15. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe the tour, whatever was going on. When I saw him, I even said in one of the podcast I did with Jeremy on the concerts we went to, I even said in that I hope there wasn't something else going on, because he just looked frail. He wasn't walking too well.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning that to me. Yeah.
Because he was interviewed a couple years ago, and the difference is just astonishing with, from 2 years ago. He
Yeah.
he had more weight on, but this I think was before having heart surgery too. So he went
Yeah, and I
through a
saw the
lot.
video that you sent. Yeah, he appeared to be not moving around very much, kind of still, stiff, and
Yeah.
looking a little tired. Yeah.
So I wanted to read, this is from Mickey Dolenz on Twitter. He says, I'm heartbroken. I've lost a dear friend and partner. I'm so grateful that we could spend the last couple of months together doing what we love best, singing, laughing, and doing shtick. I'll miss it.
Shtick. It's a shtick.
I'll miss it also so much, especially the shtick. Rest in peace, Nez, and that was his nickname.
Yeah.
He went by Nez, or Papa Nez.
Nez.
And it says, all my love, Mickey.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the group's manager also put out a statement. I'll just read a little bit. That tour was a true blessing for so many. And in the end, I know that Michael was at peace with his legacy, which included songwriting, producing, acting, direction, and so many innovative ideas and concepts. So that's a little bit of what he wrote. Let's start with a little bit about Michael Nesmith.
Yeah.
So he was born on December 30th, 1942 in Houston, Texas. A lot of his songs were country based, like country, rock, more so country. And I like that about him with the Monkees, is he brought a different kind of, he did write some Monkees songs. I don't think he sang vocals on all of them, but you can tell he just brought a different kind of, like, listen to the band is like, that stands out for me. The first album I had was the Monkees Greatest Hits.
And I noticed a lot of the songs, it is a mix of being written by them and written by other people.
Yeah.
A lot of their songs, it's a mix.
Yeah, we had Neil Diamond wrote some songs, and Boyce and Hart. They wrote the Monkees theme, and they wrote a lot of the hit songs. He was an only child, like myself, who I think are a little weird sometimes, maybe, but also maybe not to say that children who have siblings aren't as creative. You'll have your friends, like we still have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you don't have someone in your house every day, like a brother or sister,
mm-hmm. Yeah, bothering you, bugging you.
I was going to say that. You have to create your own environment sometimes.
Distractions or like being creative. That's interesting. Yeah.
So his parents did divorce when he was 4. He did get the name Nesmith from his father, Warren. His mom's name was Bet. And here's a little trivia. Maybe you know this.
Yeah. Michael
Nesmith's mom invented something that became huge.
I do not know that. Well, what this would have been, what is this, the 50s then, probably, or earlier? I mean, yeah.
This was...
I don't know.
This was 1955. Michael Nesmith was 13.
Yeah, I was guessing 50, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So his mother invented the typewriter correction fluid, known commercially as liquid paper.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow.
Most people think she invented whiteout, but that's another company that kind of stole the idea. Now, she called it mistake out. Okay.
Yeah.
So
mistake out.
I did read that she would make this in her kitchen and put it in little bottles, put a little label on it with that name on it. I think she was a clerical worker. She also did graphic design. Oh, and she was a secretary in Texas Bank and Trust.
I wonder if that was secret ingredients, like was a little bit of egg white and mayonnaise, or, I mean, what's, I wonder if she has secret ingredients to that.
Well, I heard one of the ingredients was actually paint. I guess white paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that'd be funny, wouldn't it? Just like somebody's white paint put in bottles and marketing it. I mean, why not? Just get the right brush, right small, just white paint.
Well, most people don't write letters or type anymore.
No, it's in the past now. Yeah.
So this was at the time where this invention was needed, right? In 1979, she sold Liquid Paper Corporation to Gillette I don't know if they make the razors, same company,
Mm-hmm.
for $48 million. So this is
Wow.
1979. And sadly, she died a few months later at the age of 56.
Yeah.
So he lost his mother.
40. Yeah.
And he got half the 48 million when she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael Nesmith was, I don't know if you know this, he was also in the Air Force. I don't know how long, but I was just watching, it's weird, I was just watching a couple Monkees episodes today. And I happened to watch one, it's the pilot for the Monkees.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But what's weird is it's not the first episode on the DVDs. It's like the 8th. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. If I did see it, it was a long time ago. But at the end of the episode, they have Michael Nesmith's audition. It's not very long.
That's weird.
It's in black and white for some reason. And he mentions jumping out of airplanes, like casually.
Yeah.
He was kind of if he said a joke, you might not think it was a joke, or
it was dry.
It was a joke.
Dry delivery. Yeah.
So they didn't really. The guy on the other, you don't see the other guy interview him, but Michael Nesmith can tell he doesn't believe him that what he's saying.
Yeah.
He moved to Los Angeles, I think, with 2 of his friends, and he signed a publishing deal for his song. So he was before the Monkees. He was writing songs. His song "Mary Mary" was recorded by Paul Butterfield Blues Band. But the most famous one, and one of my favorite. But it's one of my favorite songs. It's called "Different Drum." You and
I do not know it.
You don't know that song?
Oh, "Different Drum." Yes, yeah.
Linda Ronstadt.
I know it.
Michael Nesmith wrote that song, and he presented it to the Monkees, and they not the Monkees themselves, but the people around didn't want to use that song. I think it would have been a number one.
Yeah.
So he had other songs like "Pretty Little Princess," as 1965, recorded by Frankie Lane. A couple other songs were made popular by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. He was a really good songwriter. I think he doesn't get as much credit. Believe it or not, he had 15 solo albums out.
I would not have guessed that. Yeah.
More than the Monkees had. From 1968 to 2015. He also had 6 live albums and a promotional album, which means the album also had, some interviews on it and other stuff. So, of course, then joined the Monkees. And I don't know if you know this, the Monkees set a record in 1967 that no other act has equaled, right?
Well, I know that they did high revenue, high intake of cash flow. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Earnings? Okay, I'll tell that later. Go ahead.
They became the first and only act to have four number 1 albums on the Billboard 200 chart in 1 year. 4 albums in 1 year.
Yeah.
Their debut album in 1966, then More of the Monkees 1967, Headquarters 1967, and Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Ltd. 1967. So I think More of the Monkees was probably a lot of bands record more songs than they need. So
just the outtakes and extras, right?
They would have been maybe B-sides or used later on another album. So that's why there's More of the Monkees, I think, was probably in the first sessions of recording. Michael Nesmith, he won his role largely by appearing nonchalant when he auditioned, which, like I said, I watched the audition.
Yeah.
He's so cool. He's so almost like, if you want to give me the job, or almost like it didn't matter. Like he was applying for something. He wasn't real crazy, but if he got it, he got it.
Yeah.
So he rode his motorcycle to the audition, and he wore a wool hat. Of course, the famous wool hat, to keep his hair out of his eyes. Right. So producers Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider remembered the wool hat guy and called him back. Yeah. The hat did it.
The only time that would suck is when you're summertime or indoors and there's a lot of heat from the light and you're just really overheating, and sweating.
Yeah.
If you have to keep up that persona. What you drinking there, Jim?
So I have to open my beer's getting warm here.
Well,
there we go.
Oh, right. You talked about it getting warm, but I thought it was mostly gone. You haven't opened it yet.
No, I've been talking.
Oh, okay. I'm drinking cool, clear water, Pennsylvania water.
How adventurous.
I had a couple hard ciders earlier in the day, and they were hot because I was outside.
Yeah.
Downtown Easton, but they were hot, hard ciders, and very good, very tasty.
Like a hot toddy.
Yeah.
Do you know what a hot toddy is? I've been trying to.
No, I don't know. I've only heard of hot toddies. Tell me about hot toddies, Jim.
I'm kind of lazy sometimes, or maybe I just want to keep it going that I don't know what something is. You don't have to know everything because you can go on Google. You can.
I could simply explain to you and our listeners what a hot toddy is.
Yeah.
Well, I might do that.
I honestly don't know. So
it starts with a lime juice, like as a base, and then you have I think it's Jamaican rum and a splash of vodka. Okay. And I'm totally making this stuff up. I don't know what a hot toddy is.
I assume it's hot, don't you? If it's a hot drink. It probably isn't hot.
I don't know. Okay. I'm just using this as another effort to get our listeners to contact us. So contact us with your version of a hot toddy.
Okay. Our email is jimandmikepodcast@gmail.com. Because
there that's you go. There you go.
So
yeah.
Listeners want to know what I'm
from the Monkees to drink. So
if listeners want to know what I'm drinking, it's from Evil Genius. It's just vibing. Hazy mango pineapple guava IPA. A lot going on in there.
Yeah. Citrus. Yeah.
And it's from Pittston, not Pittstown, Pennsylvania. Pittston. Okay.
Hey, that was in that movie Cars. Do you remember? Remember what the award was in the movie Cars?
I don't even know if I saw that.
Yeah, the trophy was the Piston Cup.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Piston Cup. Anyway, it's a joke for the kids, for the kiddos.
The Monkees and the Beatles. Here we go.
Yeah.
So critics of the Monkees observed that they were simply the prefab four, a made-for-TV knockoff of the Beatles. However, the Beatles themselves took it in stride and even hosted a party for the Monkees when they visited England. The Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
That's very true.
At the time of the Monkees' visit, and as such, the party inspired the line in the Monkees' tune, Randy Scouse Get. That's actually the name of a song, Monkey song, written by Mickey Dolenz. A line in the song is the four kings of EMI are sitting stately on the floor. He's talking about the Beatles.
Cool.
Yeah. Michael Nesmith attended the Beatles recording session for a day in the life at Abbey Road Studios, and he can be seen in the Beatles' home movies, including one scene where he's talking with John Lennon. And during the conversation, Michael Nesmith had reportedly asked Lennon, "Do you think we're a cheap imitation of the Beatles, your movies and your records?" To which Lennon assuredly replied, "I think you're the greatest comic talent since the Marx Brothers. I've never missed one of your programs." So John Lennon was a Monkees fan.
Yeah. As long as you revere the comic talent part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that also was the year right then when that was happening that they exceeded in income. Monkees exceeded in income the Beatles and the Rolling Stones together that year. And you had talked about the albums being, out concurrently and being purchased concurrently all in that year. That was 1967.
Yeah, we're not gonna go on too long about Michael Nesmith. I was very sad when I heard the news. I had, a lot of my friends were texting me, including my wife, even Plastic EP, a friend of ours from Australia, who, if you listen to our interview, you'll know that is his band. And how great was it for him to discover the Monkees as everyone else was first seeing the Monkees on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't experience that. I don't know when I first saw the Monkees. I did look it up because I know MTV started showing the Monkees, but I know I was a Monkees fan before that, and that was 1986. MTV started rerunning the Monkees, but in 69 to 72, CBS ran the Monkees Saturday mornings and sometimes in the afternoon. Okay.
Exactly. Let me tell you about that. So that's my personal memories of the Monkees. It's also some of my earliest memories. I would go for overnight to my grandparents' house between Warren Glen and Bloomsbury, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I was so young. I'm going to guess I was probably around 6 or 7 at that time. Mm-hmm. And the Monkees on and some other cartoons would be on Saturday morning. I don't have a whole lot of memories of what I did with my grandparents there. I kind of think it was my parents just getting a night away from kids. But anyway, mm-hmm. There on the TV, I believe it was color TV. It might have been black and white, was the Monkees on Saturday morning. And I enjoyed the music, but even at that age, I'm like, what about the acting here? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just fascinating. Even at that young age, I enjoyed the music even more mm-hmm. than whatever they were trying to put together in that half hour, probably half a show, right?
Yeah. It was a pretty odd show, but I always,
it was bizarre.
But now that I got older and after, A Hard Day's Night, which Mike, you still have to see,
mm-hmm, right.
The Beatles movie. Once you watch that, you'll understand. I'm not saying the Monkees copied that, but it was similar to the comedy. Like even when you see the Beatles interviewed and they're just saying goofy answers and just...
I can still picture the early Monkees that I was watching as a child. And it's a lot of running around. Did they speed it up too? They were kind of running in circles. Mm-hmm. And, those kind of things. I appreciate it even more. I still remember that.
Yeah. Well, the one I watched today...
And look what I got here.
Oh, there's a cat.
Yeah.
Want to say anything,
say
cat?
Hello.
We got a cat here.
She just said, meow. Anyway.
So
Get that cat out
the one episode I watched today, besides the pilot, it was where Davy Jones's, I don't think it was his father, might have been his uncle. He's coming to America, and Davy Jones wants his uncle to think that he's successful. The other guys go around. One of them steals this ice cream man's uniform. It's Charlie Callis. Remember the comedian, Charlie Callis. He was in a lot of...
Oh, I don't know him. So,
yeah. And then he's got this ice cream cart. He's in the middle of the street. And then he's sitting there without his shirt on. And then by the end of the episode, all these people, like Michael... is it Michael Nesmith? Yeah, I think Michael Nesmith applies for a job at a Italian restaurant. He says he can make pasta, and then you see him in the kitchen. He's got like pasta all over him and everything. And he just takes off with his chef's uniform. So the concept is that Davy Jones has a chef, he has a butler, and they get all these uniforms they're stealing them from different people, and then those people show up at the house for some, trying to get their clothing back. So that was a funny one. Anyway, so I have some songs that people should check out. Michael Nesmith.
Yeah.
Some interesting ones. First one is the Patsy Cline song, I Fall to Pieces. Now, Michael Nesmith had this band he called the First National Band, which was made up of John London on bass. Now, John London, when Michael Nesmith was cast in the Monkees, Michael Nesmith recruited London as his stand-in on the set. And when the originally fictionist band began playing on their own recordings, London sometimes served as the bassist, allowing Peter Tork to play keyboards, banjo, or another instrument.
Yeah.
So, and this guy also co-wrote a song with Michael Nesmith, which is on one of the Monkees albums. So this is part of the band, that the First National Band. Now, this is off his album, Loose Salute. Now, Michael Nesmith he was very, very intelligent person, very like a wordsmith. A lot of his albums have, even his songs, Tapioca Tundra, there's a song called, and these are songs that don't really mention the title of the song. It's just, this is what I'm going to name the song. Really had nothing to do with the song or tapioca, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So then we got John Ware. We're still on the First National Band. John Ware was on drums. He was also with the Stone Ponies. Now, the Stone Ponies were Linda Ronstadt's band, which recorded different drum. And it was his idea to form this band with Michael Nesmith and I guess start recording solo albums. And then we have Red Rhodes. That's the guy's name. Rhodes. He played the pedal steel guitar. He also played with James Taylor, the Beach Boys, amongst others. So that was the band that Michael Nesmith used. So the second song I have here.
That's before or after the Monkees started? Before or after the Monkees started?
This is after the Monkees started.
Yeah, okay, so it's after,
Yeah, because the one guy suggested they put this band together while he was in the Monkees. So the second song, like I mentioned, Listen to the Band. Now this song's grown on me over the years because it's very different. And the album I had was the Monkees' Greatest Hits. Like I said, I think it came out in 1976. Mm-hmm. So that was my first introduction to the Monkees, which was great because it had all their hit songs on it. This was one of the songs I was on. It was the only Michael Nesmith song. So it kind of stood out, you know, on its own. Yeah. I mean, he's got a brass section in this song. And it's pretty much, the song I think should have been the first song on the album because, you know, Listen to the Band, like it would have. Yeah. Because when you listen, you hear, you know, he speaks to you, you know, listen to the band. Yeah. And that's what I did. I listened to the Monkees. That's
interesting. You know, he could have been thinking the same as you, but other people override that, you know. They're like, nah, let's put this one first and, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
This song, it's called While I Cry. And this is from the album Instant Replay. It was Monkees album, 1969. Mm-hmm. Now, this album is interesting because it was issued 11 months after the show was canceled. And it was the first album of songs that were not on the TV show. Because you'd see, I guess you could go out and buy the album and then some of the songs would be on the TV show that were on the album, you know. So this was a song that Michael Nesmith performed on the last tour. And it stood out. It's about a girl who everyone told this guy not to go out with or be with, that she'll eventually hurt him and she'll be gone. You know, While I Cry, that's what it's called. And when he performed the song in the last tour, by the end of the song, I still don't know if it's real or not, but he was actually crying. Yeah. But I've seen video of other shows and he's crying. So I don't know if he'd build himself up. This song was so powerful. It's a slow song and it's just him singing.
Did he write it?
Yeah, he wrote that song.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so then maybe maybe it's based on real events. That's interesting. So as you're talking about the songs, Jim, it's interesting. I'm just thinking again back to, like you said, 1969. And I'm just wondering if there's some people who like the Beatles and didn't like the Monkees, or vice versa. You know, we've got a friend, Keith. He loves the Monkees, but I don't believe he's a Beatles fan at all. Yeah. And so I'm just wondering if there was a place for Monkees in music only, and if there was ever a battle between, liking the Beatles or liking the Monkees, you know. Yeah, in that year, 1969, you know. There's a lot of other rock and a lot of other cultural things going on, but just wondering about that.
What I'm finding, though, is people that I know and people we've interviewed, they have an equal love. I mean, I'm sure they love one over the other, but even our friend Plastic EP in Australia, I don't know if he'd actually admit. I think he loves the Monkees over the Beatles, but it could be pretty equal.
So what about our friend Keith? What do you think? I mean, he likes wacky and zany and weird music, and that's his favorite genre, you know. Weird Al, you know, that's where it's at.
Yeah, well, and he likes the 50s and 60s music. Yeah. I've never heard him talk about the Beatles.
Yeah, I just think that there's a certain amount of people that the oddity and the humor and the strangeness of, is alluring.
Well, we'll have Keith on here sometime, and then we can ask him.
Yeah.
Find out the truth
in here.
Now, by the way, our friend Keith, I've known Keith since, believe it or not, kindergarten. So we're talking 50 some years. All right.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not going to get into the celebrity conundrum, are you? With Keith, what happens with Keith?
Oh yeah, we might have to. We're not going to do that now.
Go ahead. Whatever you were going to say, go ahead.
Well, I have a couple more songs that I find interesting.
Yeah.
Michael Nesmith.
So yeah, a couple more songs, and I got my favorite coming up too. So go ahead.
This is kind of an odd one. It's from his 1979 album, Infinite Rider on the Big Dogma. That's the name of the album.
Infinite Rider, Big Dogma. Wow.
Yeah. And it's called Cruisin'. It starts off with this really cool bass line. There's some like organ in there. But it reminds me of Lou Reed, kind of. The lyrics are kind of spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells a story about these three characters, Lucy, Ramona, and Sunset Sam. And they're cruising through LA. It's a real slick song. I really, really like it.
I'm going to look it up. I don't know it yet.
And one line is cruising through the streets looking for a disco. So remember, this is 1979. Right. And then we got, let's see, 9 Times Blue. I don't know if you know that one. Now, this is with the First National Band. The album Magnetic South. Now, this song is only 1 minute and 39 seconds long. This is a country ballad, and it was also on the Monkees' 1968 album, The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees. So I love that name too. So those are my songs. Of course, we mentioned Different Drum. That was my last song.
And you said that was made famous by Linda Ronstadt. Is that who I'm hearing when I hear that song?
Yeah. Wow, it's really raining outside. It's like a hurricane outside.
Yeah, that passed through here 15 minutes ago. Yep.
So Michael Nesmith, I'll tell you a little bit more about Different Drum. It was written in 1964 by Michael Nesmith. And it was first recorded by the Northern bluegrass band, the Green Brier Boys. Like I said, Michael Nesmith offered it to the Monkees, but the producers, they turned it down. Says, although he did perform a short comic version of the song in an episode of the Monkees. So if I keep watching the Monkees, maybe that'll come up.
Wow. So they say, no, we're not going to put that out as a serious single, but we're going to make you parody it on the Monkees television show. That could be demeaning, actually.
Well, that was back when, not so much now, but if you said no and you were on a TV show, they could say, no, you're going to do it, or you can leave, or,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They made him do it, possibly. Yeah, we don't really know.
So one last thing on this song is I love some of the lines in the song. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I knock it. It's just that I am not in the market for a girl who wants to love only me.
Yeah.
And the other line that's pretty good is, we'll both live a lot longer if you live without me, babe. Yeah. Really good song. And one of his, I don't know when he started writing music. So that's about it I have on Michael Nesmith, unless you want to add anything.
No, I don't have anything more to add on Michael Nesmith. So that's good. Yep.
So hopefully you enjoyed our talk about the Monkees and Michael Nesmith. Rest in peace. There's only one Monkee left now, Mickey Dolenz.
So, right. And you and I saw him together with Todd Rundgren a year and a half ago. Was that right?
Yeah, we saw Mickey on the White Album tour.
Yeah.
I think it was 2019.
Yeah. So and maybe someday you'll tell the whole story. You had a conversation with him in an elevator. You guys kind of got into. So maybe you can talk about that another day.
I did tell that story to someone that I think the video's been destroyed now. I didn't want that.
Yeah. It is kind of personal. It can get personal,
And I'm sure we'll talk about the Monkees more in other podcasts. I met Mickey, I met Peter, I met Davey, believe it or not, in 2009.
Yeah.
But I never met Michael Nesmith. The autograph show I go to, he was there 3 years ago. And for some reason or other, some of the shows I didn't go to, if there weren't enough, I don't think there was anybody else I wanted to meet, and I should have gone, but it would be just me driving there to meet Michael Nesmith. But now looking back, that would have been cool, but oh well. So Mike, it's good to have you back on the podcast. I know we'll be doing some interviews together. Jeremy's still going to do some of the regular. We got a Christmas podcast coming up.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to drop that really hot news too. That Andrew Van Kampen, who we interviewed not long ago, out in the press, there is Prince Charles of England there at the record store buying her vinyl. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that just came out yesterday at the hardware store. Yeah, so that's some pretty cool stuff.
I didn't realize that she did more than one video for that hardware store. There's an article you can look up of Prince Charles, purchasing her album and visiting this hardware store but on that page, there's another video of an ad where actually, I think it's in the video. There's a woman reporter, and then they play this video, and Andrea's not in it, but it's her voice. She's singing it. I don't know if it's Forever Young or if it's a different song.
Yeah.
So she did another.
Oh, they probably used her voice for that promo, Forever Young, and put some other woman on video. That's interesting. Anyway, listeners, you can check that out. Check out Prince Charles and his love for Andrea Van Kampen. All right, and it is good to be back. It's good to be back in the seat, and even though it's not studio right now, and we're looking forward to some really great interviews. So until next time,
turn off the TV
and turn up the music.
Intro and exit music by the band 99%. Today's show was produced and edited by Jim Thatcher. Jim and Mike Talk Music is recorded at Did You Say 7 Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find Jim and Mike Talk Music on Apple Music, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts.